the decisions that are made over the next couple of weeks for mid-season lamb and flocks anyway, there's still time to influence that nutritional period there and hopefully maybe reduce the issues or problems that could occur maybe with suboptimal nutrition. What happens, I suppose, in the 24 hours after lambing has a major impact on the number of lambs reared per ewe, which is one of the most important variables in terms of influence and profitability on farms.
Hello, I'm Kieran Lynch and welcome to OviCast, the Teagasc Sheep Podcast. Each episode will bring you latest insights, advice and technical updates for the sheep industry. Now in this episode we look forward to the Teagasc National Sheep Conference as Dr Philip Creighton previews the topics being covered, from nutrition during late pregnancy, the management and consequences of it, the simplifying farm transfers and the key considerations and strategies, and finally diagnosing and managing flock health issues on farm. We hear first from Philip.
We're back to last week of January again, Tuesday the 23rd of January in the Athlone Springs Hotel in Roscommon, and then repeated again on Thursday the 25th in the Clanry Hotel in Letterkenny in Donegal.
So good geographic spread again, Philip. So it is. We're going to two big sheep producing areas, so our good hinterland certainly around them.
Yeah, and I suppose an important part of the conferences for us is that we try and move the conferences around every year, so that at least there's a reasonably close conference to everybody every couple of years, that it maybe reduces the travel time required and gives everybody fair opportunity around the country.
So Philip, what are the big things being covered at this year's conference? You might take us through the agenda.
Yeah, was look at I suppose trying to keep the conference as relevant and as topical as we can. We've a line up here, I suppose, focus on a couple of key areas. The first area that we have a talk on from Tim Keady here in Athenry is the whole area of pre-lambing nutrition, so pregnancy nutrition of ewes. This time of year, obviously, very important topic, and it is a topic that's very relevant in terms of people can bring something home from them, something home with them from the conference in terms of things that they could implement straight away. Tim will be looking at the whole area of how to manage that period in the run up to lambing and the impact that can have. And I suppose the decisions that are made over the next couple of weeks, for mid-season lamb and flocks anyway, there's still time to influence that nutritional period there and hopefully maybe reduce the issues or problems that could occur maybe with suboptimal nutrition. What happens, I suppose, in the 24 hours, after lambing has a major impact on the number of lambs reared per ewe, which is one of the most important variables in terms of influence and profitability on farms. And, when we think about it, trying to reduce lamb mortality has huge links to nutrition there. There can be up on 60% of lamb mortality occurring in the first 24 hours after birth. Birth weight is a huge one. So, if nutrition is right, your birth weight of your lambs is going to be up where it needs to be and has a huge impact on reducing mortality, but vice versa. If nutrition is not right, you could end up with a lot of light lambs being born, which greatly increases the risk of mortality. The whole area of colostrum intake and colostrum quality, again, adequate nutrition and diet in the run up to lambing can greatly improve the quality and quantity of colostrum produced, which again will dramatically increase the level of survivability. And then I suppose nutrition as well will affect the ewe in terms of her condition, and a ewe that's in good condition when lambing down is in a much better place in terms of rearing those lambs up to weaning versus ewes which have been malnutrition or underfed, in terms of lamb survivability and ewe survivability post-lambing. So all those management impacts and the consequences of those will be a very important part of that talk, and very relevant for the time of year we're in right now.
No, you're right. It's certainly timely. There should be some good take-home messages in it, looking at different aspects of that nutritional input and the impact that it can have, and some of them, the consequences for getting it wrong or getting it right.
Exactly, yeah.
So what's up next then?
So the next talk then we have is a talk on a very important area, I suppose, and maybe an area that some of us maybe shy away from sometimes, but it's the whole area of maybe farm transfers or succession planning. And the key areas and considerations that maybe need to be considered. And we've a talk here from Martin Clark from IFAC. And Martin's going to concentrate very much on kind of a discussion there on the succession challenges facing Irish, families, family farms, and cover a range of issues there that could include tax implications, the structures and how you go about transferring in the most efficient and fairest way, income security, and opportunities for how to have those conversations maybe within a family, and the forgotten issues maybe which can cause problems through that process, and he has a lot of experience in this area and is an opportunity for people maybe to have a think about their own circumstances, and could be very useful for those maybe considering that area, or maybe will consider that area in the coming years.
No, it's an important topic. As you said, it's one we often shy away from. It's one that requires a bit of planning. Like Martin, I'm sure there's a lot of experience in it, and we have to always consider, Philip, like every situation is different. I'm assuming he's going to cover a broad range of different scenarios.
Yeah, so I suppose that's the whole thing is exactly as you say, Kieran, everybody's circumstances are different and scenarios and that, but Martin has a lot of experience in this area, and I suppose will be highlighting, I suppose, issues and areas which have occurred over the years in his experience, and how maybe that could be best dealt with, and maybe with a little bit of forward planning, maybe minimize some of those issues.
No, certainly an important topic. So you have two good strong papers to start off with. Where are we going on to then?
So for the second half of the conference then, Kieran, we're moving into a kind of a flock health area. And again, I suppose flock health, is a huge, broad area, but what we're trying to do at the conference this year is maybe focus on some of the big issues which can occur at farm level. And it's a joint sort of a session where we have Seamus Fagan from the regional veterinary lab in Athlone is kind of going to give the vet lab's experiences of maybe some of the issues which they've been dealing with over the years. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie that then to kind of case studies, examples from farms around the country. We have a panel of 3 farmers who are going to share their experiences of various different flock health issues which they encountered, and I suppose how they used the regional veterinary labs, to diagnose the issues and to try and come up with an action plan for their farms. And I suppose, look at flock health, and when issues occur at farm level, it can be very frustrating. It can have big impacts, and I suppose anything that we can do to gather information and be maybe more targeted in our response can be a big help in terms of getting on top of it. And sometimes it can be a slow process, but again, if we have some level of information, it's a process which can start and hopefully make progress. So we've farmers there, John O'Connell from Leitrim, Patrick Dunn from Wicklow, and Brian Keane from Wexford are each going to outline circumstances they found themselves in conjunction with Seamus, then I suppose discuss through that. And then we'll have a kind of a panel discussion where we have Darren Carty from the Irish Farmers Journal will chair that discussion, and get interaction there between the group in terms of the process of diagnosing and then dealing with those issues. And I suppose, look at it, as I said, it's a huge issue affecting, I suppose, animal welfare, performance, and again, profitability. If we have a flock that's, not performing or not in the best of health, that's going to have an impact. So anything we can do to face these challenges, flock health challenges, and how to deal with it, it should be very topical, it should be very interesting, and it should be very relevant to everybody involved with sheep production to maybe have their own input into that discussion as well.
No, it's a nice balance of getting from the vet lab to the farmer's own experience of how the impact that them problems can have on farms, and maybe more importantly, how you actually go about dealing with them and the kind of consequences for it, and they've come out the far side of it, obviously.
Yeah, and the real important part would be the real life stories of what happened on farm, and maybe the practicalities or the challenges of trying to deal with that. But again, from a real life situation, that maybe people can identify with.
Now, another interesting session, and again, in session, given the time of year we're in, Philip, it always comes into focus.
Exactly. Yeah, I suppose it's a time of year where it can be quite challenging, and again, maybe it can be quite a busy time of year. But again, if we can put a bit of a plan in place and how we deal with these things, it can be a lot easier to deal with them, in the longer term.
Yeah, look, that's really a lot that is planning for next year. It'll be an interesting wrap up to it. Look, maybe just again, Philip, the when, the where, and what time it's on it.
Yes, Kieran, of course. So the conferences, as we said, they're being run over 2 evenings, as as is normally the case. So we run it in 2 locations. The first version of the conference will be happening on Tuesday the 23rd at 7 p.m. in the Athlone Springs Hotel in Roscommon. And then again, the same lineup repeated on the Thursday evening, again the 25th of January in the Clonry Hotel in Letterkenny. Both conferences are starting at 7 p.m. It's free to attend. It's not necessary to book in or anything. You just turn up on the night. We'll go through the various different talks and discussions, and then at the end there'll be refreshments provided and the opportunity to meet with the speakers and maybe raise some of your own issues and get a chance for one-on-one discussions there as well. So it'll be well worth attending, and it'll be a good opportunity for people to meet up and discuss these various topics before Lambing, before things get busy again into a new year.
No, it's a good looking programme, Philip. Look, thanks. I'm sure that there's more detail on the website. I'll include that link in the description.
Yeah, so I should mention that. So www.teagasc.ie/sheepcon24. All the information on the sessions and speakers are available there.
Perfect. I'll include that in the show notes. Phil, thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks, Kieran.
We'll leave it there for this week's episode. Certainly very interesting conferences lying ahead of us. I have included that link in the description where you can find out more details about the Teagasc National Sheep Conferences. That's it for me for this episode. Again, for updates on our sheep programme, keep an eye on our Twitter page at Teagasc Sheep. I'm Kieran Lynch. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more episodes.